Hiya friends, how are ya? I still have one more week of my vacation schedule, which is I'm just doing a little less than my full schedule before we start up for the October, the autumn winter schedule. But I wanted to get you a nice short little ditty, and I don't know about all y'all, but this time of year is the time of year when it starts to get a little colder, and sometimes my joints get a little cranky. My arthritis is talking to me. That's also because my diet's not been great the past little bit. So I like to start my mornings with a little bit of joint mobility. So that's what this is designed to do. Start with the weight. Equally distributed through the tripod of both of your feet, right? And if anything I say doesn't make sense, just let it go and try to find your balance point, right? Close those eyes for just a couple of moments. And if you can find that, right, both feet pressing down equally through all parts of the foot, does that alone start to root your feet down a little more so that you can rise up a little taller? And I like to remind us not to be too rigid with all of this. A softness is still available, even as we elongate the spine. And just, the things that you notice. Hopefully you're in your body, your breath, your mind, your emotions, and just whatever you notice for yourself today. I'm noticing my right knee is locking out. I'm noticing my head hurts just a little bit. I'm a little shorter today with my patience. That I didn't learn just now, but through the morning I've learned that, right? So these things we observe in ourselves without judgment. And then go ahead and open those eyes. And let's begin. We're going to bring our opposite fingers up to our shoulders. You could leave them in if that seems like a far reach, right? We want to keep the collarbone broad. And I'm going to just use that as a tool to keep my shoulders and my chest still. And I'm going to turn my head to the right. Inhale back to center. I'm going to let my crown of my head reach up like there was a marionette string. I'm going to turn my head to the left. So my chin is staying pretty parallel to the ground. Inhale back to center. Yours might not want to. Notice that. Turning the head to the right. And inhaling back to center. And exhaling, turning the head to the left. Coming back to center. You can leave the hands up there or you can release them down. Let your right ear move towards your right shoulder. And inhale back up. And left ear towards left shoulder. You might start to notice maybe one side has more mobility than the other. Inhale back up or further movement. Right ear towards right shoulder. My head is forward, my face. Inhale, neutral. Left ear, left shoulder. And come back to center. Now you can drop your arms down for this, but try to keep that stability you were just helping create. And for this one, you're going to go ahead and you're going to turn your head to the right. Let your chin drop down to the collarbone. And then you're going to turn your head forward so the ear is towards the head. And if it's okay with you, you're going to go ahead and you're going to turn your head up a little bit even. And then you're going to turn your chin back down towards the shoulder, trying to keep the shoulders pretty mobile. You're going to go ahead and you're going to let that chin move down past the chest. So I'm tucking my chin actively over to the left collarbone. Now go ahead and if it's okay, turn forward towards the device, towards me. And maybe even turn and look up. I keep my shoulders neutral, right? And then I'm going to turn and look down, and I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let that chin roll all the way across my collarbone, my chest, my sternum, over to the right collarbone. And then if it's okay, I turn just simply forward, or maybe I turn and look up if my neck is okay with that. I turn back down. Chin stays actively tucked in, move all the way over to the other side. And maybe head forward, maybe even turning up a little bit. Don't hurt your neck for it. Neck is usually one of the most mobile parts of the spine. Go ahead and let that chin come to the center of the chest and reach it up. And then we're going to go into flexion and extension. I'm going to turn sideways for this one for you. You're going to inhale and lift the chin a little bit. Don't go crazy with that. Exhale, tuck the chin in. And that's flexion right here, right? Inhale, going into extension. Think of more than the chin lifting, the crown of the head reaching back and up behind you, that marionette string. Exhale, go ahead and let that chin come into the chest and round. One more time. Inhale, crown of the head reaches up and back. And exhale, down and in. And then come right between all of those moves that we just did. You're going to take your shoulder blades, lift them up to the ears, move them together like elevator doors, roll them down to the buttocks and out to the front of the body, the side technically, right? So again, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm showing you in the profile how I'm not moving my spine in and out of flexion and extension. I'm not rigid with it, but I'm trying to keep it fairly still and isolate this for now in my shoulder blades themselves. Now go ahead and go the other direction. So up to the ears, forward and down and together like elevator doors. My ribs really want to jut out, my low ribs, so I'm trying to keep those contained. That's my body, what my body wants to do. What does your body want to do? And then find that place right in the center of all of that. We're going to drop down into, actually let's do one more thing for the shoulders. Let's put our fingertips on our shoulders and start to circle our elbows, similar to what we were just doing, right? And go the other way. And we'll come back to the shoulders in just a moment. Go ahead and drop the hands down. You're going to leave the elbows in by the side. And you're going to go ahead and you're going to let your palms face up and bring your palms towards your shoulders. I'm nowhere near touching them. I'm going to turn my palms down and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push down through imaginary water. Turn the palms up and push up through imaginary water. Turn the palms down and push down. So this is elbow joint mobility, right? And now this time, keep your palms down, bring the arms up, palms face forward. Now turn the palms towards you and bring them back down. So reversing it, a little bit of a mind trip. Go ahead and turn your palms back. Keep your palms, the back of your hands towards your shoulders. Now turn the palms to your shoulders and bring that down. Do that one more time. And again, I'm keeping my elbows in at my side body and pretty still, yeah? Now, we're going to go into the wrists and the fingers and work with this part. So first, just make baby fists. I'm not rolling in and tightening, right? I'm just have my fingers in. And I'm going to just simply start to move up and down with my hands, my knuckles. And just starting to move into the wrists, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to extend my fingers up when my wrists go up. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring my fingers in as I bring the knuckles down. Knuckles reach up and then my fingers extend and knuckles come in. I make a fist, I go down. Do that one more time. Right? And then any kind of movement through the wrists and the hands, I like to go ahead and kind of circle. And notice how you're starting to probably involve that elbow joint, right? Unless otherwise I would keep my hands completely forward if it wasn't part of that joint as well. If that doesn't make sense, don't worry about it. I haven't filmed in a while, can you tell? And then from there, go ahead and let those hands come down. Now, next piece, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go back into those shoulder joints. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to turn your palm, your left palm in, let's start with the right palm in towards the body, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to reach that arm overhead. Now, if you have a shoulder injury, you're just going to go to the point where it hurts, and then you'll come right back down. If it's okay to turn the palm behind you or go into what's called internal rotation, reach the palm behind you and go ahead and roll that arm back. I keep my chest pretty stable with that, right? And again, palm stays into the midline. This is my midline, right? And then I turn it out and away, and I reach that down and back. And then I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to keep that down and back without rolling my shoulder too far open for this. I reach overhead. It's harder for me this way. I turn my palm to the midline, and I bring that all the way down. One more time. I'm going to turn my palm back behind me, right? And I'm going to go ahead, which way? And I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to reach that back behind me. You roll the thumb in towards you for that, by the way, until you get overhead, and then turn the palm into the midline and reach that down. Left side. Inhale. My palm is into the midline. Now I turn my palm out away from me and I roll that shoulder open and back. And I do that one more time. Palm to the midline. Don't be in a rush. Turn that palm behind you, roll that wide open, right? Find your edges. Again, I'm going to turn my pinky finger out to the side, my thumb back. That's called internal rotation. And I'm going to bring it up, and then I move into what's called external rotation, and I bring it forward and down. You don't have to know these terms, but if I say them enough and you move your body through them enough in the classes we do together, hopefully you just start to know this stuff and you get to know your body more intimately, yeah? I think the more intimately we know it, the healthier we can be with it. So from there, we're going to move into our rib cage. Actually, I want to go into one more thing. So those shoulder blade circles that we did, Move those in, but this time do let your body, your spine kind of go into. So when my shoulder blades are forward, I'm going to bend my knees a little bit, move into a little bit of flexion. I straighten my legs, shoulder blades up, back, and down. I move into a little extension. We already did that with the neck. We're adding the spine in, right? And just do that, I don't know, about one more time. And then you're going to switch the directions, right? So I bring my shoulders up, and then I bring my chin in. I bend my knees a little bit. I round my spine behind me. When I bring my shoulder blades together, I'm going to go into extension, it's called. And go ahead and do that a couple of times and just wake up that spinal column a little bit. And come back to center. And then we're going to go into those rib rolls I like so much. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to hands on hips or out in front of you, whatever you'd like to do, right? You're going to let your ribs move forward into extension, and then you're going to move them over to the right and then back behind you to the left and forward, right? So I move them to the right, back behind me, profile, to the left and forward. Now try to smooth that out a little bit if you can, and see if you can't roll your ribs around in a circle. And again, I'll show you front first. I'm going to start forward and then move them to the left and then back behind me and then to the right. And one more time, hitting the four corners. And this is the side view if that's helpful to see what my spine is doing. And then I'm going to try to smooth it out and see if I can't roll my ribs. I'm not trying to control my hips or my upper body. I'm kind of letting them, they're going to want to move with this, right? And then come back to center. Hips. So similar idea as to where we just were. You're going to let your right hip move a little bit back into that back corner, right? So you get a little stretch through there maybe, and then swing it over directly to the right, and then forward, and then over to the left, and then I want you to move it back into the left a little bit. That's a good stretch for a lot of us right through there, right? And then move it back. So if I talk from the tailbone, I move my tailbone back to the right, over to the right. I move my tailbone forward almost like I'm tucking it, over to the left, left side back, and then I move my tailbone back behind me. Now go ahead and start to smooth that out, and go ahead and see if you can't make that a circle, moving from your tailbone today for this one. Switch and go the other direction. Pardon me, and come back to center. Now, moving into those hips a little bit, you might want a wall or a chair for this one if it's helpful, and all I mean by that is right the back of something. It's not so much about the balance, right? It's about the joint. So I'm going to take balance. I'm going to lift my right leg. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to have it up about the height of my hip, but I can leave the knee lower if that's difficult for me. Tone the low belly, right, just for protection in the low back. And then we're going to move into internal rotation. So I literally take my femur bone and I try to twist it in. Yes, my heel lifts, but it's not because my heel's lifting. It's because I'm rotating my femur bone, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move that out to the side, trying to keep the internal rotation. And right here, I can't go further behind me unless I let go of some of the internal rotation, right? And I move that back behind me. And I'm not going to tilt too far forward. And then I'm going to reverse that. I'm going to go into external rotation to bring it out to the side like a fire hydrant. And then I'm going to move into internal rotation. I'm going to let my heel lift. I'm going to come back to center and bring that heel back down. One more time. Internal rotation. I move that back, and then I'm going to go into external rotation to swing it around behind me. Otherwise, I can't get past a certain contraption of my leg, right? And then external rotation brings me out to the side. I'm going to move into internal rotation to bring it forward and bring that down and bring that leg down. Other side. Oh, I was going to have us glide through it. Oh, well. We're going to go ahead and we're going to bring that left leg up. And from there, again, I go into what's called internal rotation. I internally rotate my thigh bone. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go out to the side as far as I can. Right there, I can't go any further unless I externally rotate my thigh. And then I'm going to let that thigh move all the way back behind me. Yeah? I'm going to externally rotate the thigh bone to bring it out to the side. Try to articulate, play with this stuff, right? And then I'm going to internally rotate and bring that knee back to center. Heel drops down. One more time. I'm going to go into internal rotation, and that's just for the hip of it, right? Come out to the side. I get stuck unless I go into external rotation, so I can roll past that area in my body, right? Back behind me, external rotation, bone structure. And then from there, I'm going to internally rotate, and I'm going to bring that back to center and bring that leg all the way down. If you need any wiggles or jiggles, take wiggles or jiggles. And then from there, knees, right? I'm going to have my feet about hip distance or so, and I'm simply going to bend my knees and straighten my legs a couple of times. Knees hopefully moving straight forward over second toes. This is where I start to notice the tendency my right knee wants to move out to the side, right? The various things that knees like to do. And then you're going to go ahead and start to move them in a baby circle. Now, if you have had knee replacements or you need knee replacement, things like that, you know, double check this might not be right for your body right now. Go ahead and go the other way. If you have hardware, you might not be able to go very much to the sides, right? And then one more time, we're going to drop in, letting our knees go right over our second toes, tone the low belly, put a little more weight in your heels, or a lot of people say move your shins back. Take another breath, building some strength in our quads. Push those heels down to come all the way up. And then for the ankles, you can use that chair again if you would like. And you're going to just simply lift the right leg a little bit so you can start to rotate through that ankle. And go ahead and go the other way. And then rotate through that left ankle. We've got one more little thing to do, but we're going to come down to our buttocks to do that. So move that chair if you were working with a chair. I personally am going to sit on a little bit of height. So I'm going to have that block handy. I've got a little transition for the way down because, you know, that's what I do. So showing you from the side, I'm going to have my feet down and that block on standby. I'm probably going to have to move it in a second. But just like we did earlier, we're going to start to sit down into that chair. Now, if you need to sit into an actual chair and be higher, please do that. Why on earth would you try to do something that's not right for your body? But otherwise, if I can, I'm going to come on down. I'm going to have this block on standby, right? But I'm going to try to lift my heels and bring my knees down and bring that block in on about medium. Maybe high would be better for you. And I'm going to try to sit back, right? So if I can just simply sit on my heels. But again, I'm showing the block version because that's not accessible to all of us. If you need the body pitch a little forward, you can do that. But again, I might be able to just simply sit down on my heels and bring my body upright. So hopefully there's many versions for you there. Yeah. And if you were in the chair, you could just simply, let me show that real quick. Stay there if you can. Right? You could sit down into the chair and you could lift one heel up, curling your toes under, and then lift your other heel up and just do that a couple of times. Yeah? Okay. Now, you're going to uncurl your toes. So you can lean forward, put the hands down and uncurl. And then we're going to go into more of a flexion on the other side of the ankle. So again, I'm going to try and sit down. If that's not available, I've got that block upon which I can sit on many levels. So think Virasana, hero's pose, and breathe. You might be able to sit directly on the heels. And go ahead and release that. Now we're going to I'm going to sit on height, and I'm going to bring those feet out in front of me towards dorsiflexion. Right? So again, we're using the motions of the joints, trying to hit each of them and articulate them. And I might pull my heels back a little bit, my feet back, and try to bring my heels down to the ground and see if I can't stretch the back of my heel, my Achilles tendon. If you're dealing with an Achilles tendon tear or something like that, why would you do this, right? So again, listen to your body. Now from there, we're going to come into a seated position. Chair, ground. I'm going to stay up on this height, pulling my ankles in and sitting up nice and tall for a few moments. Go ahead and close the eyes. Notice the body. Hopefully, maybe. One of the things that I've studied, I've been trying to do a lot of research and studying of Ayurveda and even dipping into traditional Chinese medicine. There's so many similarities between the two. And one of the things is stagnation and how stagnation can bring dis-ease. So I try to move, if not in this way, I try to move my joints in my body every day. So I move my lymphatic fluid, right? So I move that energy, that chi, that prana, whatever word you want to put on it. And I try to make sure I do that from the crown of my head to the tips of my fingers, to the tips of my toes as much as I can, so that that energy keeps moving in me. The fluids keep moving, the air keeps moving, right? All of those things. Bring your hands together in front of your chest. Inhale. Exhale, bow your head into your heart. Moment of gratitude. Namaste. Be well, friends, and I'll see you for a full schedule starting next Tuesday. I'll be excited to be back. Bye.